Hello, friends. This is Johnster Monster of episode 224 of Shadow and Flame of Magic, your premier Kitty Pryde Locky and Magic podcast. Today, we're going to review All New Doop 3 and then spoil the heck out of Moonstar 2, Uncanny X-Men Volume 626, Uncanny X-Men Annual 2026, Wolverine Volume 818, and then very quickly, actually quickly on Wolverine as well, but Psylocke Ninja 4, Sai Dimensional Rivals 4, Iron Man 4, and the end 2099-5 that finally ends. But before we get to our new dupe, I was able to work from home the last 2 days, which is, a privilege. And I stopped by West Wing rewatch to start watching the Punishers. I've been hearing great things about it. He's gonna be in Brand New Day, and I had a whole month of Punisher I was gonna do for once the Punisher one shot came to Disney Plus after Brand New Day, but turns out we got the trailer on Thursday. And in between Daredevil's Born Again season 2 and Spider-Man Brand New Day, we're getting treated to the Punisher One Last Kill one shot, which they've confirmed is, going to be around the same time as that what do they call the Monster Hunter one shot that was all in black and white? Well, anyways, that Halloween special, and that was roughly an hour of movie. And so, yeah, the Punisher, right, actor John Benthal is also co-writing the movie and or special. And but it was like, hey, I just got to episode 9, and I think I'm on 12 now. It was a little busier today, so I did not watch a TV in the background. And but yeah, I'm really liking first season. I did Google because I was like, who is this love interest of the lady federal agent? And then I was like, oh shoot, it's Ben Barnes, who I always remember as being Prince Caspian from the movie Prince Caspian. And got a little, it's this character slash this character. And I was like, well, that's a huge spoiler for myself. And I was like, well, shoot. So I would keep watching, waiting every episode for a little, I was gonna say Two-Face action, but I'm like, oh, but I'm super late to the series. Like it's so long ago. Um, but I've been really liking it. I'm not sure when I'll pick up with the series again, but I should try to at least finish the first season. And but it's coming out in May, which I already had the Spider-Man kickoff event being mid-May, so I might make the Punisher a month. I don't know. I gotta see how many. I got All New Dupe 4 and 5, and then I think I have a couple weeks before Spider-Man starts. The Dark Web event we're doing here at Shadow and Flame of Magic. Um, so I'm at least gonna do because it was gonna be a solo Punisher comic and then a three issues of a six issue series, being super vague for whenever I get that done. And so I'll try to do the solo Punisher story, which if you're a Kitty Pryde fan, you're probably like, what Kitty Pryde story does the Punisher show up in? And then you'd be like, wait, it must be that one. And so yeah, it's that one. So you'll find that out before we start kick off Dark Web, and then we'll see what we can do about doing the other ones. Um, If not, I just bought those comics for my own pleasure, and that's pretty nice. Um, so yeah, that will be the programming update. Um, they announced today there's going to be a DNX X-Men event written also by Jed McKay, so they just keep giving him line-wide crossovers. So people literally must be enjoying X-Men more, or Gail Simone's perhaps being like, I don't want to do a mega crossover. I did that once, and Jed can do it. And so Jed's doing DNA or DNX. So that should be fine. It just sounds like it's going to be people getting mutated, but instead of X years later, it's now. So obviously, that seems like what Krakoa Beast is up to. But we also got news of the X-Men Hellfire event that's going to be coming out this summer. That is called the X-Men Hellfire Murder. And Blue Sky Pal Christian underscore S, a great Blue Sky follow at CH Rise, RISE 1701, which I believe is purposely a Star Trek reference. And if you remember Christian, who's just great on, socials, but he was my fellow guest host on Grey Malkin Lane that I was able to do a podcast of. Seek that issue episode out. We did an X-Men Hidden Years 18 and 19, I want to say. And I know Christian was invited back, and I had plans to come back. And then I know Chad got off socials, and then uh, did he do a Nightcrawler episode I'm not aware of? Is he going to reach back out? I don't know. It feels like it's been a year or so. But if you want to see me cross over someone, Comic Books Beyond and me and I did dual crossovers. Those are worth checking out. Um, anyway, so Christian had a guest because they gave us this is gonna be great for our YouTube friends, but audio listeners, Lucio Vecino is doing all these Hellfire designs. And so they have all cool names, and Christian suspects he's matched them all up correctly. I think for the most part, it's probably dead on. Like the wolf is clearly Logan, Stars Jubilee, who are going to be it's supposed to be a murder mystery inside a Hellfire Golem. And so the cat's on there. So we got Kitty. Um, there's the Fool for Gambit, Sun, Jean, Moon, Emma, or Magic is who I'm maybe thinking. But Emma's supposed to be there, so it makes sense, Emma. Angel is Sinister, which is fun. I say that, but Angel is associated with Apocalypse, who's associated with Sinister. But Angel and Sinister don't have anything in common, right? I don't think so. Nothing's coming to mind unless it was Krakoa related or X-Core related, which is still Krakoa related. I mean, it's like who's commenting on like who's questioning this in the moment that I'm responding to? Well, I guess I did. It is odd that Sinister's never been in a movie, right? Like I think he was teased at the end of New Mutants, but I don't like it's odd of all the major X-Men villains. No Sinister? But what story would that be? The clone of Jean Grey? Yeah, I guess. Um, her Fato's Attractions. I haven't read that in forever. Butterfly's canon. Hound is Dakin or Akihiro. Apologies. Akihiro. Queen Oworo. That makes sense. He has a guess that the devil is Empath, and I mean he's definitely a blonde guy, so could be Pierce because of the Cyclops miniseries going on. I don't want it to be Empath because Empath. Um he believes Peacock is Oya, which makes sense. He has a guess that Dove is Prodigy. But I'm thinking Dove might be Ransom because of the Oya connection, and Gail Simone is writing it, and you got to start using these new characters to fill out these cut casts. Cat is Kitty, and Lioness is Betsy. So it'd be great to get Cannon and Betsy in a comic again. So that's all happening this summer. So I guess the Marvel Universe is not being destroyed by Armageddon. So maybe we can just all relax about Armageddon, just enjoy it. Um, I'm gonna try to still not buy it while I can, but we'll see. We'll just have to see. But I like Kitty being part of a major cast again, especially with the lukewarm reception X-Men United got. But issue 2 comes out next week, so maybe people would come back around. So, Punisher last trailer, DNX talked about Hellfire Murder. So yeah. So we have All New Doop 3, everybody. And this came out in August of 2014. It's written by Peter Milligan, Artist is David LaFayette and Jacopo Camagni, who we lost uh last month. Now it feels like maybe. And so I did one comic, and then I only other comic I had was this one in my collection. He's the current artist of Generation X 23. Issue 2 came out. We get issue 3, and then another writer artist takes over that title. But um so yeah, before Generation X 23, I had another comic and this comic. And so without it'd been weird to do issue 3 without doing all five. And so had a nice 5 week period, and here we are. So now we have the Punisher thing. It's like, oh man, those are my 4 weeks right there. But I rather we had done All New Doop because I love this series. Color artist is Laura Aldred. VC's Clayton Cowles is the letterer. Color artist is Michael and Laura Aldred, as you can tell by this gorgeous cover. Um, and if you know David LaFuente's artwork, it's pretty obvious to tell when Jacobo does the other artist, Camagni. Maybe it makes more sense to say call by his last name, right? Um, so there is a green potato looking thing that lives the X-Men. His name is Dupe previously. Dupe intervened in the Battle of the Atom to give things a little push, but he's bitten off more than he can chew. And so we get Camagni art here, Rachel and Kitty chit-chatting as Rachel wants Kitty open up to her because she's been acting weird, as well as this Kate Pryde that's running around is also weird. So what's going on? We're best friends. There's an ad here for 300 Rise of the Empire, and I've never seen that. Then we get back to Lafayette artwork, and Dupe is confronting Roz or Raze, right? Raze. Roz doesn't seem like too bad of a guy, but Raze is like, ugh. And then we get Anna Chris from Ecstatics. You Go Girl couldn't make it. She was very tired. And so they confront Raze, and uh Dupe is worried about confronting his mother. Then we get back to the Kamagi artwork as the two prides talk, and Rachel wants to know what's going on as well. We do get the classic conversation about like, if you're from the future, why don't you remember this conversation? And it's just like, man, be cool. Meanwhile, Atticus is trying to help Dupe out as he's very nervous about talking to his mom, so we're getting the impression it's not good there. Um, and then we see the future Ice Hulk is attacking everyone, and so Bobby's about to attack it. Adult Bobby is when Duke takes him out of the comic. And so they bounce around as Duke updates him about what's going on with the previous two issues. Which if you want to follow along, you can follow along on my TikTok and YouTube channels at Jacko SII. Um, they're back to the Kamagi. Um, And I want to say it's just because all the Kitty Pride isn't all purely done by him, by the Finite will kick in eventually. But then Dupe updates her about what just happened. And then Kitty and Iceman inadvertently break up, mostly because well, it just wasn't working. Like it was clearly a short-term relationship that was just fun. And yeah, so we get the Fences artwork here. And Dupe is worried he's gonna die, and so he's like, I wanted Kitty out of this lousy relationship. And she had already figured out that they weren't for each other anyways. Iceman doesn't do himself by any favors by shouting, you should have stuck with Colossus, like oof. And so they're done. But Kitty also doesn't want Duke being all proud of himself either. Like, this was not the way to do it. And then Duke returns Iceman saying, no one's missed you. And Iceman's like, everyone always misses me, which is not always the case. And Duke come fight, and so we go from Camagni to Lafitte Fentes. And she's gonna phase herself to reality. Um, but he shares that he's worried he's gonna die. It's true, and I couldn't bear the idea of you wasting yourself on Bobby. You're worth so much more than that, Kitty Pryde, and she is. And so she recognizes that this is a bit of a cry for help, and what can she do to help? And he says he just got to talk to his mother. But before he does that, we see Magic um, teleporting past Beast and Angel to the future. And so this is the middle of the miniseries, and we're towards the end of the Battle of the Atom crossover. And then Dupe confronts Mama Dupe as we end the series. And the Guardians movie must be coming out as Rocket is advertising Dr. Pepper. And Harley Davidson is working with Wrecked and Ruined Part 2 of 6. Yeah, I don't recognize these characters. So, yeah, that everyone was all new Duke number 3. I don't know if any Dispatch fans are out there, but for Easter, I got a nice PlayStation gift card. So I've been playing Dispatch. I'm on episode 5 of 8, so that's on the channel. Um, Probably won't play the night of recording so that the podcast has a moment to shine on the old YouTube channel. And so we will now spoil comics of this week. So we have Moonstar 2, written by Ashley Allen. Artist is Eduardo Audadino. Colorist is Arthur Helsey. VC's Clayton Cowles is the letter. And I got the variant cover by Nibit Mavalia. Apologies if I did not pronounce those correctly. I tried. This was such a great issue. Well, besides that clear cliffhanger final page, but we'll get there. I thought I misremembered Alan's tease of Danny maybe getting a love interest in the series, and we only have Kian as an option right now. And Essa is dead, though maybe she can come back. Chiron is definitely not an option. Danny and Kian are, and that's Kian, so Kian? Are looking for an artifact that Chiron. And I just shouldn't name two characters in a story. Both starts with KI sounds, right? Um, Probably will need if he needs a larger container to keep souls in. Cayenne says some hurtful things about wishing Danny had died instead of Yanisa, which seems a bit much, but he is grieving. I love so much that Danny doesn't take it. She understands it, but she sets a real boundary. As they approach the altar, the zombie goon grips Danny's ankle, and we get a very fun insert panel of a grip sound effect. Like, I love this so much. This is what you can do in comics, and I guess animation, but yeah. Cayenne embarrassed himself, but um, by not regrouping with Danny, causing himself to almost fall to his death, but Danny catches him. He's completely silent as he's very embarrassed. Then, in very quick succession, Cayenne saves Danny and she blushes when he accuses her of being embarrassed. So there's some cute chemistry here. So maybe I like these two just a little bit. I wouldn't say they have fun chemistry or any chemistry, but something times intense experiences create relationships. They never work out. Chiron finally arrives, but makes a foolish mistake of taking the form of Danny's beloved grandfather. She would have been in shock, but Chiron is talking complete nonsense and she starts attacking him. Chiron does share his origin story and his sister's death, which is motivating his current actions. Since he has to take a soul before he can see the sword, he takes Danny's. I don't like that. Great issue besides that final little detail. No magic references, but we did get Danny thinking about the X-Men, so that's nice. And how Chiron is, or Cayenne would never make it on the X-Men, which is like, yeah, I don't think so either. Uncanny X-Men Volume 626. Gail Simone's our writer. Luciano Vescio did the art and the cover I bought. Colors is Matthew Wilson. Letter VC's Clayton Cowles. Wooden Park, Woodenburg Park, New Orleans, in Louisiana. Issue opens with Rogue and Gambit on a date, which is very sweet. They're thinking about adopting the Outliers, which seems a bit much. I would love to see the Outsiders side of the story where they're like, we're in our 20s, you can't just adopt us. We thought we were on the X-Men track. Though in Age of Revelations, the Unbreakable X-Men comic, we see that Calicchio is considered their daughter, so we'll see how that develops. Their date is interrupted by a punk robbing an older lady. He wants to be part of the Thieves Guild, and I like so much how quick Gambit is to tell them that he wouldn't want some punks who rob old ladies. That isn't impressive at all. But doing all this, he's coming off very intense, causing Rogue to try to calm the situation down. Haven House, Kurt believes Mackenzie broke up with him, so he's very down. So this is all making sense to me. He's wallowing in the fact he can't play the piano, though I'm certain that there are hundreds of people with only three fingers on each hand that actually do play the piano. Imagine they do the classics and have created beautiful music to match their abilities. Jubilee's trying her best to be a friend, and I like that we're finally getting these two hanging out. They probably have less time together than Kitty Pryde and Jean Grey. Kurt's going to sleep and Jubilee's going to check on the kids. As are they teenagers or are they young adults? I can't get a feel for their ages anymore. Ransom's having a nightmare from his hostage days, taking on the ransom monk here. He's probably never far from this pivotal day in his thoughts. Jitter is having a nightmare involving her mother's lack of understanding of how she can do what she does, making a cheese souffle, this example. Does she not even consider mutation? I just imagine all public schools include mutations when they talk about puberty. I mentioned in elementary schools that kids tease each other cruelly about who might turn into a mutant. Kids can be cruel. Her mother sends her to school knowing poor Jitter will be taunted there. This is just shown as a nightmare, but I can only imagine this happened to her all the time. Death Dream sleeps, and the way I pretend to, with my arms crossed on my chest. Like if I'm waking up in a hotel room, my family, I just strike the pose before I open my eyes. I'm usually up first, so no one sees it. He's having a nightmare involving his younger brother not breathing. Kalikio is having a nightmare. I do not like her mother at all. A boy asked Becca about a lost dog, and her mother's just losing it. She claims Becca has a filthy mind, just like Becca's father, and anyone who uses the phrase filthy mind just isn't right. Somehow Ember is next on the hit list. Becca's mother thinks the horse is coming between them, so now she burned the stables. Like the heck is going on here? Jubilee wakes up Kurt, who sleeps in white briefs. I feel like with how sexy Kurt is, he has a responsibility to his housemates to wear pajamas. That's right, right? He's a sexy Kurt, a sexy Kurt. Remember that? That's a good reference for like all you Kurt Angle fans out there to enjoy. It's true. It's damn true. Mackenzie shows up and was afraid for Kurt in his life. She wasn't that thrilled with Matina, but it is Kurt's life she's worried about. Plus, Kurt is talking to her in his underwear, so there are no hard feelings that we can see. Waffles, that sentinel-shaped dog, shows Jubilee the outliers are all missing. In Sentos Island, Singapore, elsewhere, when this is odd. We just had the outliers as outlaws, and now we're having a maybe time travel adventure with them. This is going to be an interesting arc. Dr. McTaggart rescues Jitter. In Buenos Aires, Argentina, Cyclops rescues Ransom, who is playing soccer. Uh, Lodon Metagrucial Mine in Virginia, Calicchio and Ember rescue some miners. One thinks she may be a mutant, but the other believes she must be a miracle. Like, bro, she's both. Come on. Logan and Beast pick them up. Then Nightcrawler rescues Death Dream, so we know something's off if Death Dream doesn't recognize Kurt. Westchester County, New York, Professor Xavier School for Gifted Youngsters. The outliers are brought together. There is a sixth member, Mutina. We have the new mutants. Becca's Cannonball is a fun idea. They're both from the country. She's rich compared to his working class. They both have a flame element, I guess. Ransom, as his cousin Sunspot, seems to be an inspiration for the adventure. Jitter is in the rain role. And um Deathbird would be in the who else is left? Sam, Bobby, Danny, and Rain. So is Mutina Rain Danny then? No, but then who is Jitter? Karma? If they're all supposed to be five for the five? Bettina as Danny, maybe. I guess, they're both prone to using knives, perhaps, or pointy objects. That's probably it. Um, so I thought it would be Matina from the cover, and we were right, though Simone tried to throw us off. I know Cannonball will eventually show up. Time will tell if we get magic. And of course, who's behind this? Must be pretty massive. They're pulled from around the world, but also were they? Around the world, across time. There is no mutants, but there is X-Men. Like there's Cyclops, there's Beast and Wolverine. Beast looks like he's 70s Beast, and Dr. McTaggart. There's the Xavier House. Um, so yeah, be curious to see what we're doing here. But it is odd that we just had them as outlaws, so now we're doing another reimagining of them. And time will tell if we get a magic, so I don't know. So we also got the Uncanny X-Men Annual 2026, written by both Gail Simone and Miki Kindle. Artist was Francisco Morchino with Elizabetta de Macchio on inks. The colorist is Martina Icono, and letter was VC's Clayton Cowles. We learn more about Logan's connections to Haven House and the St. Juniors and another old-timey adventure, Lady Henrietta. But I'm just here to see Ember being a good horse boy. Plus, we get cow litter, and I love those two together. They are so fun together. I like how we get Jubilee and Logan hanging out. That's nice. That's pretty much the comic. And then we're going to get talk out these last books very quickly. So there's Wolverine Volume 818. This was a good run. I thought adding Silver Sable to an Adamantine arc would keep me interested, but Romulus is dead at the hands of an adamantine-empowered Hercules. He knocks out Silver Sable, and my interest was also lost. Logan fights him for many pages, then Athena and her spear and a cool bird arrive to freeze both of them in their places. Looks like the new Murloc's homes weren't that damaged, so that was nice. Psylocke Ninja 4, Betsy in Cannon's body fights with Elektra. Elektra somehow causes Betsy to have a mental cameo by Dazzler, who I thought was Rachel at first, Colossus and Havoc. Then Betsy returns the favor by causing Elektra to think that Matt Murdock was there, so we get some fun characters here. Jubilee is held captive until she rescues herself. I like that. Issue ends with Betsy and Elektra realizing they need to work out together, as I believe this is a 5-issue run. So, and then Sai Dimensional Rivals 4, we get the creative team of Peach Momoko, Jim Mahfood with Mike Spicer, Gizabe Kamukoli with Maury Hollowell, and Phil Noto with VC's Joe Sabino as the letterer. Mahfood gives us a Doctor Strange cameo. Kamukali sneaks a Venom in there, and Noto gives us a nice action sequence. Iron Man 4, I do like to see Thunderbolt's fixture showing up in the series. I don't think I've mentioned that before. Carmen Carnero gets some art help from Jan Bazaada. Um, Nolan Warward's the colorist for the entire issue. I'm not sure I could tell what Balazadua added, but maybe that was the point. At the end, 2995, the whole bunch of toys are hitting each other. Logan, the Nova 2099, attacks a giant green bean. Galactus' heart's traded. Professor believes he made the right choice. Ends with a cool splash pages of Spiders Man 2099 and 3099. Just this miniseries wasn't for me, but you know. Next week's comics, we got X-Men United 2, so that's fun. Magic and Colossus 3, so we're just committed to X-Men United and Magic coming on the same week. Godzilla Infinity War 3, preview pages did not show Magic, but she's bound to be there, right? Right? Inglorious X-Force 4, Storm's Earth's Mightiest Mutant 3, Ultimate Wolverine 16. We do got confirmation this is not only the final issue, but also going to be it does have magic in it for sure, and will tie us from Ultimate Wolverine 16 to Ultimate Endgame 5, which I suspect was the only issue I needed to read in that entire series, if needed to read at all. Because once they announced there was an Ultimate Universe The End one shot, I was like, well, that's the one thing you have to read, but then you'd be worried about missing on the journey. But 3 issues into Ultimate End, be done already is how I feel. You know it is. So our top 10 X comics thus far: X-Men United 1, Magic and Colossus 2, Moonstar 2, maintaining its line, Avengers 4, Volume 9, 34, at number 5, Generation X 23, 1. And then Sorcerer Supreme 3, Wolverine Volume 8, 17, not 18. X-Men Volume 7, 28, Uncanny X-Men Volume 6, 26, so update there. And Cyclops Volume 4, 2 rounds out the list at 10. So everyone, thank you so much for listening, or if you're a YouTube friend, watching. And you can follow me on socials at Jacko SII. And the podcast is socials at SNFWM, where I'll be posting some videos on Instagram and Blue Sky. And if you're a Reddit tier, the Lockheed subreddit is at 499 Reddit tiers. So one more from 500. So we're very excited about the growth of that subreddit. And that would be the episode, everyone. So I hopefully you don't have a shadow of a doubt, and you can keep that eternal flame and make like magic and get the word out about this podcast, everyone. Thank you so much for listening or watching, and I'll talk to you next time. All right, everyone. Bye.